Now, throughout the year, as part of our ITIL for Application Support webinar series, we have been surveying our audiences so that we can learn more about the challenges that you're facing with application support, and so that we can also create webinars that will help you to address these challenges better. And I'd like to share some of those results with you now. 68% of our respondents said that one of their key challenges is to improve their customers' perception of the value of application support. 58% of our respondents are faced with reducing incidents and problems. And another 58% are interested in improving the performance of application support as a function. Now, today's webinar on reducing incidents should help you with these challenges. And it's also indicative of today's business environment. In May 2003, the Harvard Business Review really sparked a firestorm when it published Nicholas Carr's article entitled IT Doesn't Matter. In 2004, he followed up the article with a book entitled Does IT Matter? Now, this provocative article states that IT is becoming a commodity and that its strategic importance has diminished. And as reflected in Larry Ellison's quote, Carr suggests that business should reduce IT spending as it is getting more difficult to gain a competitive advantage with its IT investment. And actually, it is much easier to put your business at a cost disadvantage. Now, this book has influenced the thinking of many business leaders and is forcing IT organizations to demonstrate the value that they bring to the business. And as a result, IT organizations are being scrutinized more closely than ever. We're striving to be more relevant. We're trying to add value. We are trying to show value. And we're doing all of this while still trying to keep the business's lights on. And because IT is so entwined with all major business functions, many IT organizations are using strategic service management strategies to, one, change the perception that IT is simply just a software development house. And they're also using service management strategies to demonstrate the value in the services that are provided by IT. Now, many IT organizations are successfully using the ITIL service management model to demonstrate this value. ITIL is a service management discipline that is focused on the customer. Now, you're attending this webinar because you want to learn how to use this ITIL thing you keep hearing about. You'd like to learn how ITIL can be used to align your services with your business objectives, manage your services, measure your services, improve your services, and achieve a 20 to 30% improvement, which can translate into more work or less cost. More specifically, you'd like to learn how ITIL can be used in a practical way to reduce incidents. In this webinar, you're going to see a three-step approach that can be used to learn how ITIL can improve the delivery of one of IT's most important services, namely application maintenance or support, or simply application support. So as a first step, I'd like to provide you with a working understanding of ITIL, specifically ITIL service management. And to do this, I'm going to quickly review its origins and its background. ITIL is the flagship standard for IT service management. Now, the quote above accurately describes the need that ITIL addresses. As providers of IT services, we can no longer afford to focus solely on technology. We have to focus on the quality of the services that we provide, and we have to focus on our relationship with our customers. IT service management, or ITSM, is a discipline for managing IT. Now, it's intended to align IT services with the needs of the business. It emphasizes benefits to customers, and it involves a paradigm shift from really managing IT as simply a bunch of a set of stacks of hardware or network or technology components, and shifting that focus to a focus on using best practices and process models to deliver end-to-end services. ITSM focuses on adding and demonstrating value to the business. Now, ITIL stands for IT Infrastructure Library. It's a set of best practices for IT service management. and it was developed in the UK by the Office of Government Commerce. In 1989, the first ITIL book was published, and it was entitled Service Level Management. Between 1989 and 2000, the OGC collaborated with IT service professionals from around the world and received contributions of many service management best practices. And these collaborations continue up to the present day. In 2007, specifically in May of 2007, ITIL version 3 was published. Now for version 3, the OGC created a comprehensive service lifecycle. It's comprised of 5 phases, and it's shown as a cyclical wheel. The first phase is service strategy. The next one is service design, followed by service transition, followed by service operation, and then encompassing the entire cycle is continual service improvement. Now here's another view of the ITIL V3 lifecycle. It shows how the outputs of each phase, it shows the outputs of each phase, and it shows how each of those outputs is passed on to the next subsequent phase. It shows the interactions between each phase and shows how each one builds value for the business with a focus towards service operations. In service strategy, the service is defined and modeled, and the cost of the service is defined. In the next phase, service design, the service is designed and it's developed. In service transition, the service is implemented and its cost is validated. And in service operations, the service is delivered. This is where the service is managed, where it's measured, and where it's delivered. It's where it's managed with their day-to-day processes. And then finally, in continual service improvement, the opportunities for optimization are identified and they are implemented. Now I'd like to summarize an application support view of the entire life cycle. As before, you could see how each phase leads to the next and how the output from each phase flows into the next phase. You can also see how each of these phases focuses on service operations. As a matter of fact, that's the purpose of each, is to build and define how the service will be delivered and how it's going to be managed. Each phase identifies requirements for the team's work processes. You can see how the work processes are evolving. Each requirement, each of those process requirements would flow into service transition and would result in the service operations work processes that are customized for the business. These processes are also integrated into a service management tool. And in computer aid's case, this would be Tracer. Now let's walk through an example. Service strategy would recognize the needs of the business and would determine what types of services and work should be done by the application support team. For our example, let's say that service strategy has determined that the team will be managing incidents. Service design would define how the team will work with incidents. It would define what incidents are, how they will be processed, how they will be resolved, and the service level goals associated with each severity level of incident. For instance, resolving all critical incidents within 4 hours. Service transition would define the specific process that would be used. It would define the team's incident process, and it would implement it within the service management tool. The service level goals would also be put into the tool. And then finally, in service operations, the team would be activated and the processes would be running. In our example, the team would be using the incident process to manage incidents